Lloyd, founder of Creative Group Economics. I have our co-host here. We got Shern. Go ahead. You know you got to say your name. You know
Shern, Cut a Smooth EP Digital. Always here to see you. Good,
yes, sir.
Good to see you join. So, what up?
And we got my man here, Coach Mike Watkins of Jackass football team. We got him here today. Go ahead. He's going to join the subject with us, and we're about to get into it, and we're going to answer a couple of these questions, you know, and see kind of what a little bit more about him. I see Jackass season. Y'all had a good season this year, which was, what, 7-1?
Yeah, we finished up 7-1, you know, with the hurricane coming through. You know, our kids, you know, had a great time and, you know, fun doing it. You know, we missed 2 games. We missed both scrimmages, so it was a tough season. But we had a lot of fun this year, so looking forward to it. Keep building.
So would you say that was some of the biggest challenge you faced this year was pretty much the hurricane?
We, you know, being an HID, Lloyd, and you know, you playing at Yates, you know, every day is a challenge. So the storm coming through, fellas, was just another day to us. You know, it prolonged, you know, the season, and we did an excellent job of getting everything together so the kids could you know, have some fun and have a season, salvage the season, I would say.
Right. So did the playoffs change anything like that? Did they do anything different with that since the schedule changed, or did everybody just kind of have to skip them 2 first games?
No, okay. Here's the deal. A lot of people didn't realize Hurricane Harvey affected Houston area, you know, the Gulf Coast. Remember, in Dallas and North Texas, you know, they were still playing games, so those kids still had full seasons. You know, they were playing 10 games, so a lot of those guys, that's why my hat's off to Cy Fair. You know, they won the state championship. And you know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in 6A from the Houston area. Those guys did a terrific job going and missing those games, so it was awesome.
All right, that's cool. I always want to ask the coaches this when I was there, like, you know, like what, how much decision making, like what are the differences between, you can honestly say, between the school system now going through it and now being inside of it? What is the difference? Like, is it easy? Do the coach have as much power as you thought he had when you was back in school?
It depends. It depends on if you're talking about as far as Yates, or you talking about inner city high schools, or you talking about suburban high schools. In HISD, the power structure is a little bit different. You know, not all campus coordinators are the head football coaches, but in the suburban areas, the campus coordinator dual as a head football coach. So all of the decision making is made to them with in regards to athletics. Now you work hand in hand, and the building principle, you have to develop a relationship. And then even within HISD, the power struggle or the hierarchy is different. Chain of command is very different. So it depends. We have a great principal in Dr. Davis at Yates, and I don't know how long we're going to keep him. I keep saying that, and I tease him all the time, Lloyd, but he's done a terrific job, and he allows me to do things that other head football coaches, campus coordinators in the district don't have an opportunity to do.
Right. No, I get that. I feel like it does start at the top. If you have somebody hindering you from the top, I would say that definitely make it hard for you to maneuver through the system. But I guess my biggest thing was when it comes to, you know, high school sports, and when it comes to just being a coach out there, like, is it too much different from you being on the field? Like, do you see just 2 different sides to every story? Because you know, at that time when you were a student, you're like, hey, this is unfair. It shouldn't be like this. Are those some of the things that you try to change now as a coach, or do you just happen to see it on the other hand, shoe on the other foot?
Again,
it varies.
It varies. There were some things that my head coach, Coach McGowan, you know, he was around. He was around the building, and I see now why he did a lot of things in regards to his staff, in regards to what he had to work with. A lot of people, I don't think, give Coach McGowan enough credit. Everybody likes to say that Coach McGowan had all this, you know, talent that he had, but there were a lot of things that Coach McGowan didn't have, and he still was able to keep Yates afloat, just like Coach Booker. That's why the 85 Yates team, the 81 Yates team, that's why it was so special, because they had to endure a lot of things and very different. So when you're talking about the early, during the 20s, 30s, and 40s, when Coach Patterson was there, he had his own struggle with segregation. And it's just different struggles, but along the way, you just endure different things, and those guys endure a lot. So I see, to answer your question, I see why they did a lot of things, and I try to lean on those guys, like Ray Seals from Madison, Coach McGowan, because they taught inner city and coached in it, and they were successful. So I try to see how they handle their problems and try to modify it to modern times.
Got you. I think that's exactly how it needs to be. I think, you can't always paint everything with the same brush. You got to be able to, over there, give your own solutions. We got to keep continually doing things, because if not, we know how Yates is, and we know how the area is. If it's not people staying on them, it's talent going to waste every year, all day, every day. I can say, honestly, myself, going to Yates, I came in with like 500 people, but we only graduated like 230. And I can honestly say that all of those kids didn't go to other schools. Some people dropped out. I mean, amazing athletes. People went to middle school, we won city and everything, but I can honestly say only about a handful of those people actually graduated high school.
Consistent with the rest of America?
I mean, I guess you can say that, but I guess me seeing it firsthand is different. All of us can go and say, hey, I know some athletes that probably was better than me back in the day, but you be like, what are they doing now? You'd be like, dang, they had so much promise, so much talent, so much ability to do stuff, but what was that thing holding them from, getting to the other side? I would ask you this, if you had to give somebody coming up right now in high school some advice on avoiding pitfalls and which way to go, they coming through high school, what would you tell them?
Okay, first you tell the student athlete, you figure out what it is you want to do. You have to offer, not everybody knows what they want to do, so you have to offer them something. We're competing not just with basketball or movie theater, things of that nature. These kids have a lot of things that they can do other than playing sports, okay? And now you have AAUs popping up, 7-on-7 air leagues coming up, so you're competing with those things. So I always tell them, you have to do things that are going to keep you interested and are going to keep you healthy. I always tell them to find the best fit. You may not necessarily be a starter at one school, but it's the best fit for you. And if you don't start for 2 years and then you get there in your junior year and you start, it's the best fit because you do well. Not everybody cares about you. Everybody wants to, now we have these personal trainers. Everybody wants to go to the personal trainer. These guys don't care about you. They don't, the guys that are doing the training, they don't realize the amateur rules that they're breaking. And again, it's what can you do for me now? And so I tell the kids that now the parents is a totally different animal. And that's what we're battling with now. You tell the kid, the parent a different thing. It's all about my child. And what's the most important thing for you is your child. And I tell everybody, less than 1% plays college ball. And it's even less to get into the NFL. So if that's what you're banking on, so what we try to sell in Yates is that when you leave us, you're going to be a well-rounded young man. Okay, and you're going to be ready for life. We have to teach, and it's very important with our staff. We have a tremendous staff at Yates, and that's what we try to sell to our parents, is that we're teaching your young man. We're an extension of your household, okay? And when your child leaves us, he will be a successful black man in America and know how to carry and conduct himself and be successful, okay? And that's what you have to sell. And a lot of these parents don't understand that. They always want to talk about these scholarships. Athletes want to talk about, oh, my friend got this. Well, your friend is 6'2", 235 pounds, son. And you're 5'8".
Just say, this ain't price comparison.
Right.
Like, you can't, just because he got it for that price, don't mean you can get it for that price.
Man, that hurt my heart. That's how I feel, too, man.
You played sports in high school?
Yeah, I played football. I don't know, McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Shout out McKeesport right there.
Pennsylvania? No, we don't know about that one. He got it.
PBA. I played football, and I wasn't expecting much. Like, I just wanted to be I was good at it, but I knew going to college ball I wasn't gonna make it. I'm 5'8", going up against 6'2", and when you actually see college ball, forcing them to like really crack some heads open, and CTE ain't about that life.
Right.
At college, I
put it like this. I can contest for that size stuff because I was the smallest on the field all my career. And I graduated high school at about 150 pounds. So everybody on the college field was bigger than me. But guess what? Every college program I went to, you can't name a skill position that was stronger than me. Any of y'all that see this, you challenge me now. You know what I'm saying? That's even to this day. So, I ain't, that small thing, I had coaches, I talked to Coach Holmes the other day. He said he still tells stories about me.
I just told my wife when you and another player, I saw this kid destroy this guy. He had him up, and I tell you, by the time he 6'2", 6'3".
I seen him the other day too. Terrell,
had him up by his shoulder pads, and I guarantee you, by 5 minutes, he had him down on the ground and let him go.
5 minutes.
He was
tags to the face. He wouldn't let me go.
He let him go, and he wore him out for 5 minutes. I said, man, y'all better get him. Lloyd gonna kill him.
Hey, man, me and Terrell, we good to this day. Dude is big as I don't know what, still to this day. You know what I'm saying? So all the power to you. You still big, but brother, I ain't trying to try you. I ain't mess with you. But we gonna go into the next segment pretty much, and we gonna get our input from Shern and our man here, Mr. Watkins, on pretty much should college athletes be paid, and if so, would that change the economic status of these students? Me personally, I feel like it would. We have over 150,000 students that that's on scholarship right now. And let's just say the NCAA revenues over $1 billion. Let's just say every year. They think they fell short. They were like 900 and something million, but still that's over $1 billion. That's about $1 billion that they revenue. Texas A&M, they make 194 million a year. Texas, 187 million. Ohio State, 170 million. That's to just kind of give you just a sample.
It's a lot of coin.
I'm telling you. And I'll put it like this. 1/3 of that goes to rights and licensing, which means off jersey sales, which that's directly. So you're not buying that because you like the school. You're buying it because you like that player. You know what I'm saying? So you picking a specific number. You picking a specific person that you, don't get me wrong, you like the school too.
Yeah.
But at the wrong, when you pick that number, who do you pick? You ain't picking number 98 or 59 if he ain't done nothing. They ain't got them numbers. They only got the top players.
All right, that's a key point right there. Remember that.
Right now, but I'll tell you this, the average tuition is like $50K. And just like we said earlier, only 2% of high school students actually go to get a scholarship, and only 1% of that actually go to the NFL. So it's a large a gap that I think we could definitely pay these kids. And the biggest question is how? How much do you give them? What is too much? How can you make it fair? Because you have these colleges that make an enormous amount of money, and then you have these colleges like PV that I went to that don't make that amount of money. And what I said is, it got to be a way that we can rank them either by playing time or or scholarship. How much money are you giving them? How much do you say you invested? And each process, when you enter this stuff, I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be a little complicated. You're gonna have to get somebody, I feel like, to monitor who's on these different levels, just so it's no gameplay, like, oh, I don't like you, so I'm gonna make sure you can drop your money down. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be somebody that's overhead looking over this type of stuff to kind of help it out. But I think, it's gonna take some definitely ways to kind of maneuver the cost. What do you guys think? Do you think that will work? Or do you think it'll make it easier, or do you think it'll just too much money? You think it'll complicate college too much?
Coming from a ball coach.
That's why I see you got to get it from the coach.
First thing, just my opinion. I'm not an expert in the NCAA field, but most colleges work off of a deficit. So the colleges you just named, with the exception of maybe a handful more, are actually going to turn a profit. Everybody else is being subsidized by the state. So just like you have your Prairie Views, your Texas Southerns, you also have Sam Houston. Those guys are not going to, are not revenue generating like that. So they're basically going to either break even, or they're going to be $2 or $3 million in the hole at least to start off. So how do you do that? And now you're getting into something else with the civil rights equal pay, Title IX.
Yep.
So you continuing to go. So yes, if I go to Ohio State and I pay those athletes and the revenue generating sports, which are typically football and men's basketball. In some cases, you have Connecticut, you have Duke girls basketball. Those places, Tennessee, that actually turn a profit in female sports. You're going to have a problem because if you have to, now you're asking those money generating sports to now provide payments to college athletes that play golf, go swimming, gymnastics. That's a lot of money.
But that's why I said it has to be on like a ranking type scale, or how much is your scholarship, how much do you generate, not only as a thing, but I looked at that because I looked at some of these, the top, I would say, programs that I did name, they turn a profit about 50 to 80 million a year. So I'm like, even that is still, even if you just took $1 million and say, I'm just going to pay our athletes, it got to be some type of way. We do profit sharing and taxation on everything else. It got to be a way that we can do this. And I don't want to say tax because everybody feel like that's a negative connotation of word. But yeah, I feel like it needs to be some type of profit sharing between these colleges because think about it. I've seen some of these coaches, they paid only like $19 million in scholarships, but don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to down the coaches, but what coaches said was like $40 million. That was more than what they paid for scholarships that year. I just think that's a little, don't get me wrong, I know the work and I know the effort and the strain that it put on families, especially them moving all around the city and state. But at the end of the year, when you gross in some of these top schools, I'm talking about, I got through around the top at least 25 to 50 without any of them seeing a deficit, because they definitely had both of them on there. They had how much they made, how much they was giving out, and what was the churn afterwards. And a lot of them was churning at least 50 million.
All right, so given that number, what's the total number on the NCAA?
$1 billion.
No. In total of teams, you're just saying about top 50 was at schools. How many total schools are there in the NCAA?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands. So you're saying 50, then not all thousands are turning a profit. So
I mean, that's only that was on the list. I'm not going to say all of them was turning a profit.
That some's going to turn a profit to be able to do that, what you're doing, and many will not, is what you're getting at.
If I'm not mistaken, it may be like, if I'm not mistaken, 119 what we call Division I teams that are, Alabama's,
we got to remember Division III they don't have no scholarships.
Right, they don't have scholarships in NAIA, so you're talking about smaller schools. So you're talking about who's going to profit share. Is it going to be, because typically the people that are turning the big profits are your Division I.
Correct.
Right. Your Power 5 conferences, we'll put it to, SECs, your Pac-12, your Big 12, Big 10, those will be the ones that are turning the profit. So are you going to eliminate the Sun Belt Conference, AAC, which U of H plays in with Memphis? Who gets paid? And so now you like you said.
I mean, I don't think you can do it by conference. You have to do it. And I'm not talking about a large amount of money. I'm talking about just the players that's on scholarship. Even if you went to like a minimum, something that's like maybe from $200 to $500 a month. Don't get me wrong. That definitely is a lot of money. That turns into millions.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's all you're asking for. Don't they pretty much already get that now? Because
only certain colleges get stipends.
If you got a full ride, I thought most students, when you get a scholarship, you've been in college, right?
I know some
you're going to get
full
some
scholarship players. Trust me, brother. Full. Not everybody. I'm telling you.
So what you do with that, and this is why I think it hurts us. And I'm talking about in the black community because we're not educated on it. If you get a full ride, a lot of our kids don't go and fill out the extra paperwork,
the FAFSA and all that to get the stuff
scholarship, and not only the scholarship opportunities. So let's look at somebody like the Tom Joyner Foundation, who goes in and donates and will pay for a full ride.
Correct.
So and he goes to black college. That's what he pays for. So if I get a full ride at the FAMU, and I'm actually smart enough to fill out that scholarship from Tom Joyner, it used to be $20,000 or whatever. So I have a full ride to FAMU, Prairie View, Texas Southern. Tom Joyner Foundation is going to pay for that. So now I've already gotten a full ride, and I've signed my letter to Texas Southern. Now that money, that scholarship money that came in Tom Joyner, now if I fill my forms out correctly, now it goes into my pocket.
Correct.
each semester. But we don't do that. We say we have our full ride, and we say screw it. And we don't tell our kids to go fill out the Coca-Cola, the Houston Livestock Show and rodeo stuff. That's where the money is. See, a lot of people don't have that. See, I had some money going to college, and so every time that I fill out, when I came back and I got the Houston Livestock Show and rodeo, that Coca-Cola, see, that money went directly to me because things were already paid for.
Yeah, so you're a Coca-Cola kid too? I'm a Coca-Cola kid.
I wish I could hit it like Tyrese, but I can't. But no, that's just a way that you can get your money, because I know a lot of athletes, they get full rides, and some of my kids have, and I always tell them, fill out that stuff, you know. You still, you know, that's how you get paid.
See, luckily my mom was, I guess both my parents went to college, so I guess I never felt like I had a choice. And you know, I never filled out a FAFSA a day for in my life, because my mom was like, hey, I'm gonna do this. You know, and she was a beast at doing it, so I let her do it. I'm talking about, you understand, I'm talking about I probably received over like around 20 grand in refund checks. That's money I have to pay back that didn't go towards school, that went towards whatever I wanted to pay for at that time, whether it be spring break. And I can contest that. I know it's about 70% of PV is in that same boat. And I guess when I talk about the paying of the athletes, I guess it's a lot of white athletes out there, but I ain't talking about them. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make a big effect in our community. It ain't going to make a big effect in their community. Matter of fact, it probably just be chump change to them. No, they probably wonder, why are you giving me this?
Any extra money will still work. But I think the scholarships is good enough.
What?
All right, you move on to the next question that you had, and how would that affect the economic status of college students? One, if you've ever been a student that kind of didn't have a scholarship or didn't have a full scholarship, you know, living along with the full scholarship athletes, they be balling. You know, you balling, you got a full ride and everything, and
but you got stipends,
what have you. I've seen it. They be balling. Now, if you give them extra money on top of the rest of the scholars, you know, college students that, you know, hey, this is a college struggle out here. I ain't got a full scholarship. You know, my grades are giving me partial, what have you. I may be smart enough to get a full ride, you know, but by and large, you're setting up an even higher gap between athletes and regular students.
But I think you can only really only people that I hear make that argument is people that didn't play sports in college. Because I feel like when you traveling doing all this stuff, not trying to say no disrespect to people that didn't play sports, but I guess I know the work that you put in to people that did, and no disrespect. I don't want to create a gap, but I just know all the athletes, poor athletes that's out there hurting because they don't have the funding or stuff that they need, but the school is sitting fine. Because I know you know. It's so many black just going to PV. I'm telling you, we had over, you gotta remember, in the college team, it's about 100 people. Over 100 people on the college team. And I can say 20 of those got scholarships and everybody else hustling. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it kind of hard.
Looking at that logic, right? So if you're the leader, the coach, you know, the person who makes the decisions on that,
right?
Why would I have the opportunity, or why would I give current scholarship recipients full ride even more money when not all players are even getting scholarships? Why not just expand all scholarships rather than giving extra or more to the ones already got?
Because I think if you really did the math that way, that'll be more money. Because if you do it, first of all, it's only 150,000 that's on scholarship, but it's over 500,000 athletes, student athletes. So that number
you can do a
crazy.
Tier system all the way down. The last guy at the line will probably
if you think about it, they already do that for scholarships, because they give the partials, they give the give you scholarship money or give you loan or some whatever they do to try to help you out.
Yeah,
but the partial is already there.
You brought up an equal pay, keeping it equal pay.
Yeah.
But don't even want to keep it equal pay among all of the athletes, because I know there's some star athletes that just have a natural ability, just that they're God-given that size to succeed in that sport. It's more about biology and biometrics with that person than the talent that's honed in or what have you. So how can you keep that equal? Because the smallest guy on the team may not be the best, but he is putting in that same amount of 100% effort,
right,
but won't get paid for it because of your standard that you have.
I mean, that's why I said you can go by playtime. It don't have to be by just people that got scholarships. You can go by pay them by play time. I hate to say clock in and clock out, but at the end of the day, like, you got a player that's, don't get me wrong, I know some people that went and walked on, end up was good, still not on scholarship, balling, but still not getting nothing for it.
So what if free service? It's a free service. It's just like when somebody goes.
It's definitely free,
because
for sure.
Because if you got somebody that goes to prison, you got free service, right? Because they still doing that. It's the same way. I have to play that line if I'm the coach. If I have a certain amount of scholarships, and I've got this kid that has 1 year left, but I have this freshman coming in.
Right. You got to play the politics.
I'm gonna go ahead and pay for this guy, freshman coming in for 4 years, so I can get my other guys, and then this 1 year he's gonna ride it out and he's gone. So again, it's a sticky situation.
That's the business side, right there. Telling you your corporate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not gonna get sticky, but I'm just talking about as far as what we need.
Well, this is one thing that I tell people all the time with athletics. Always remember, it's the vehicle that that's the driving force for bringing everybody together. So you have, and you use this as an example when you're at Princeton and Yale. You look at schools like that, Ivy League schools, okay, Cornell. You got millions of dollars. You're talking about Rhodes Scholars, very highly intelligent, respectable families, and coming out of those schools. But yet and still, you're not going to have 10,000 people show up for some history exam or some physics debut. Even with Steve Jobs was announcing Apple, you had a couple thousand people out there in Silicon Valley. Now you're talking about USC playing Washington or USC and UCLA. Now you're talking about 50,000 people, and now you can display what you have to offer in that campus. And so that it all comes together and it all helps each other, because I can tell you T. Boone Pickens is not donating $500 million to Oklahoma State because they got a hell of a math department over there. Okay? Right. And it's the same, Red McCombs, former San Antonio Spurs owner and Minnesota Vikings owner, got car dealerships all in the San Antonio area. He's not donating millions of dollars to UT.
Wait.
So money did come from contributions,
are
though.
Y'all saying athletics is better than intellectualism?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right. What I'm saying is that it brings everybody together.
Okay.
It's the vehicle. We can use our own example here with Mr. Fertitta, now the owner of the Houston Rockets. He has a multi-billion-dollar corporation, not with just the Rockets, but also with his Landry's corporation. And he's throwing a ton of money in assisting the University of Houston to get better athletically. Now, what does that do? It brings everybody back in the city of Houston, as far as who went to the University of Houston, all alumni. You come back, you have people graduated from the Moore School of Music, okay? You have people that's coming out of political science, the business, the Bauer Business School, and they're all coming to football games, meeting and greeting, how you doing, and throwing these ideas off each other in other settings. In regards to athletics, but when you come out and you go to an alumni, because I played at U of H, okay? But when you go to an alumni setting that's thrown on by the Moores College, music, you just have those guys. Bauer has their business reunion, they just had them. But at a football game, now you're connecting all the alumni together. And that's why athletics is so important, and that's why so much money is put in it. They're bringing everybody together. Now you can come back and say, okay, we need a couple of million for a new building. Cullen is getting old. We need new dorms. We need to do this. We need to do that. Now you're bringing everybody together. You're bringing those big money guys. Now you're coming, okay, you're getting a guy on a golf course that's a political science. You're getting a guy that's maybe a theater graduate. U of H, and just like every other campus on America, has so many notable alumni that may not intertwine with each other, but then all of a sudden, you see Matthew McConaughey on the sideline of UT football game, and you also have President George Bush, former President George Bush, sitting on the sideline with him. Brought them together.
That's a very good point. I've never heard that. I like that.
So
y'all hear that?
He's saying basically it's beyond just the money. It's beyond, not beyond the money, but it's beyond just the idea of just intellectual.
That's the largest networking event for, let's say, institutions, learning institutions, in order to facilitate the bringing in social, connection, but also that funding connection.
Right.
So,
And even in this show, gentlemen, when we're sitting here, you got a football coach and you got different technology gurus over here, and we all have different backgrounds. But what's bringing us together on this tonight? Sports.
True.
Sure.
I mean, you might have a non-sports guy next week.
Right.
But no, I definitely get you because I played football. I love playing football. I've never been a good spectator. But the few chances I was a spectator to a game, the event is always like the thing. Like the networking is going on. It's like a party, but it's not a party. It is a very good celebratory event. Everybody's feeling good and feeling off that energy of whether your team's losing or not. But that energy within the game, a lot of business deals, you could talk about things, everything business, what have you catch up. But it's like that perfect environment for that. And I never really thought about that.
I mean, it just became that. But I would say this. I'm going to play the other side real quick. And let's just say if they really wanted to accomplish this, the students and the athletes, what are the best ways it can be done? My personally, I feel like they should take a note out of not always the Democrats' book, but I think, if the students or players really wanted something like this to happen, I heard somebody say it, but all they got to do is just, stay out 30 minutes for a bowl game. Just let them know, like, hey, we need some real talking about this. That's the only way. They not. First of all, a national championship game,
everybody.
If one team said they not gonna go out there, trust me, they gonna be like, hold on, what y'all want to talk about? They gonna be mad, or they probably gonna get some suspensions going. What do you think? That's what he know. He's like, who gonna step up? Who gonna be the next person? Because if you not, you ain't going to the league.
Like when you say that, you bring up that point, but it's already happening. Our seniors, now that have an opportunity to play in the NFL, they are now electing not to play. So it's already happening, just not in the way you're thinking. They're going to get paid, and they do not want to get hurt, and they're pulling themselves out. It has already started. So now you're going to start now when you have a senior that does it, which is going to trickle down, because the rule is with the NFL, you have to be removed from high school 3 years. So now you're going to have juniors to start it, which they have already started. And now what's going to happen now, if the CFL decides that, we're going to throw away. So it's all systematic. Basketball now, men's basketball, and the NBA, Adam Silver, they're talking, so now they can try to up the age 2 years.
What?
That's something that's happening, guys, right now. Because right now it's bad for business for men's basketball, because now they're going to come in and one and done. What have we seen our athletes do? Okay, fine. The NBA says I have to go one and done. Well, guess what? The NCAA is not paying me, so what I'm going to do? I'm going to play overseas. Everybody thinks LeVar Ball is crazy because he's outspoken. Right. But what is he doing now? He's getting paid, and now the Big Baller brand has now expanded worldwide.
And they balling out there, too, hitting 40 a game.
Right. And let me tell you, there has been, and see, people like, they don't like to report that those two guys are doing well, and they report when they don't have any points. But one thing I will say about those two young men is that they're very inexperienced, and they don't have the experience right now. But there's sometimes when they have a game where they don't score that many points, maybe 2 or 3 and 3 rebounds. But again, if they see it again the next night, they explode for 60 points, combined points. That guy did an excellent job. The problem is that he's outspoken. And what do we all say when our black fathers are out there? We got to get him out, and he's crazy, and we label him. He said the same thing about Serena Williams' father, but he taught two girls how to play tennis.
Right.
For sure.
Right. So I'm all for the ball. I'm a ball brand fan.
If I can afford it, I'm high school. I know I love my principal, but if you're listening, Dr. Dave, you can pay your boy some money. I'll support the big ball brand.
Right. Hey, nah, for sure. I mean, that's just kind of what it comes down to, when it really comes down to the players, and really making stuff happen. Like, I guess I want them to be okay and not be in a sense of panic, because you got people out here really care about their schoolwork. People really care about football, and I know a lot of students and a lot of people that was like really dedicated, but really just didn't have the money. Like really good dude, but just didn't have the money to keep going and do what they need to do. And but on the other hand, a lot of other people on the team and the school is flourishing, and they may have it, But I understand the factors and the things that could kind of the pitfalls as far as other teams and other sports not bringing the revenue that could kind of create a problem, you know, as far as the sharing of the sports and sharing of the money, you know. But hey, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, they figure out a lot of stuff. We know how to build things. I'm sure we can figure it out.
So let me ask you real quick, guys, on the aspect of paying the players. We want to pay the players why? To help families or to help them?
That's his question. I'm totally
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's
He's more scholarships
is already happening. You're already getting paid, and that's what it's there for.
Okay.
Right. So
I guess it's to help the kids that need it, but I guess you can't really pay those kids without paying everybody. You know, that's what makes it hard.
And the reason why I ask that, because if you have if you're talking about helping your family, because a lot of these kids want to move on to the NFL and they think that's the only way. If they want to do that, what would be the difference in the putting or paying the athlete as opposed to if a parent was qualified for a job? Why not give them a job at the university?
I talked about that too. You know, I'm already working with a PV. They got a group called PV Wire. I'm talking to them about talking to the student government, to even talk to the schools to open up different entrepreneurial programs within the school. Like, why are y'all, you know, you got third-party companies coming here and allowing in a profit sharing, but you're not allowing the students to partake in some of this. Not only is that, but who does all the contract work on campus? Why aren't you allowing some of these, I would say, opportunities to go to some of the parents that's paying tuition? A lot of them got landscaping companies, cleaning companies, design companies, building companies, architecture companies. It's a lot of opportunities. They already got their emails. Why not offer these bids to some of the students or parents that already have these opportunities? And I know in some of these bigger companies, probably Texas A&M, they probably already do that, you know. But I know at PV, I can honestly say I know a lot of our parents are not getting these jobs.
that might be a rare circumstance, but I mean the jobs thing, schools should already do that. I mean, but it's up to the parent to even apply, and just for that student already being there, but the scholarship should be a good reference.
And they may do that. Now, I said, I'm not into the NCAA. I don't get intertwined with that. I just know that I make sure that my student athletes make sure that they continue to, you know, don't default on the amateurism rule. Now, in the state of Texas, in high school football, some of these Dallas school areas, because it is noted, and we know in the coaching fraternity now, it is known that these guys move their parents and give them jobs within the school. Maybe it be a basketball job, maybe a secretary job, maybe it be a teaching position. They do that now.
Okay.
So it can be done. That's why I say it. You know, you got areas, you know, affluent areas in the Dallas and Austin area. There may be even some in the Houston area. You know, some of these districts. You know, these coaches get them out.
As you bring that up, hold on. As you bring that up, I now think about, with all of that and paying college students, isn't that a conflict of interest? Isn't there a legal thing with that? Isn't that what Blue Chips was about? Y'all remember the movie Blue Chips? Y'all remember Blue Chips?
I remember Blue Chips. They were giving the parents.
They was giving them the students.
That went on a whole different. That went on a whole. They was paying people to come to the school though. You know, that's a different type.
But as opposed to a job, if somebody can do
the same thing,
if somebody can do the work. I mean, right. What's the difference between hiring that person as opposed to somebody else? You're just giving them an opportunity. It's the same thing when you see your name on the resume.
No, but it drives an unfair advantage to the bigger schools with bigger pocketbooks than other schools in terms of the talent pool. The richest school will always get the best talent because they can pay them.
And so if you pay them, the athletes right out, it's the same way with the Power 5 conferences, because their contract, the money that they're, the general, I guess you say the revenue that they generate is all geared toward TV contracts. So of course, SEC is going to make more than the SWAC, you know, because the SWAC is going to be on a smaller scale.
Okay.
As TV, it's the same thing, but at least you have an opportunity for those athletes that go, those lower socioeconomic athletes, to get an opportunity for their parents to be, you know, come up the chain, maybe go from lower class to middle class.
I mean, that's true, but looking at the whole picture, you know, without that, every athlete in the end, if you don't pay them the scholarship, they get at college, they get that education.
Not all of them.
Well, you got to graduate, you got to apply yourself, you got to finish. You can't, it ain't a gift, you know. But they get that. And with that, like, there's, if
What is a
graduates
bachelor degree
with
this
this
year?
degree or a bachelor degree, that's even. That's equal.
I don't think that's equal though.
Yeah.
They done made billions of dollars off you. I don't think that's equal.
No, it's equal amongst the players. Like each player who receives a scholarship and graduates, I guess no matter how much that school made, what have you, you graduate, you got your degree. Like you guys are equal at that point. Now you go on to paying, like it drives that gap further. Like,
But I put it like this: that gap already exists for people that know there's top athletes and the people that's sub and the people that's not. Trust me, it's already there. And we seen it. So the people that get that money without paying it, no, you're not increasing it. If anything, you giving them the opportunity to be able to share in some of the things that they do. Not saying everything. My thing is not to give them money to go buy stuff. My thing is to get you out the pockets of your parents or people that probably can't afford to put you where you at.
Isn't that what room and board is for?
Bruh, they don't pay for nothing. You understand?
That's what you
they don't pay for nothing.
Has a roof over your head, water, power.
Here's another thing to think about, gentlemen. You're talking about the revenue that these schools have, $187 million from Texas, 194. Though you throw out those numbers, okay? And you're talking about multiple sports. So they have $187 million, and they have a couple thousand employees.
For sure,
salaries, right?
That's a lot of people. They facility upkeep.
So here's the aha moment now. Mm-hmm. I challenge you to go see how much the NCAA made and how many employees they have. Yeah. The NCAA is $1 billion a year revenue, and they only have less than 300 workers. So where's that pot of money going, guys?
It's going to the schools. It's going to other students.
Exactly.
You know, other scholarships.
No. Listen to me. NCAA.
Exactly.
Oh, the organization.
Yeah. I told you I'm gonna say earn. This is not the schools.
This is not the schools. So after everything is paid out, you have Texas, Ohio State, you have these schools making $187 million. But at the end of that, the NCAA comes back and says $1 billion.
Yep. Now
let's go back a couple of years when Penn State, the NCAA had the audacity to fine them $60 million in the Sandusky deal.
Correct.
And the state of Pennsylvania came back and said, hold on. You want the state, because we are subsidized, this is a public institution. You want the state of Pennsylvania to pay the NCAA $65 million? That is not legal. And guess what? NCAA backed off quietly, and you never heard of it again.
It tells you, man. I told you how much they gross at the beginning, man. It's a lot of money.
So it's just a big old pot out there.
It's a pot of money out there, but who has access to it, and what are they doing with the money? Again, case in point, Ed O'Bannon, UCLA, the O'Bannon brothers filed $1 million lawsuit because of the NCAA video game that we all grew up on, gentlemen.
Right.
I don't know about y'all, but I grew up on it.
We all did. Come on,
you
now.
grew up on it. You played it. They made $1 million, and then all of a sudden, Ed O'Bannon and the guys came up with a class action lawsuit. Guess what? They quietly had to pay those guys. Now it wasn't a lot because they collectively, it was a class action suit. But guess what? NCAA and EA Sports parted ways. The NCAA says you can't use it anymore. They had to go another avenue. So what happened to all of that money that they?
Exactly. So I say this before we take a quick a music break and go to the next topic, but that's perfectly what you said. They joined all this class action suit, and these people making money off of them for games going back years for so long. These people been not playing NCAA for 20 years, and they still making money off of them. You telling me they shouldn't pay you something? You crazy. That's why I'm gonna leave it. But I feel like this. We'll be right back with the next subject. You don't really believe in equal pay, do you? We'll be right back in a couple minutes. Y'all stay tuned.